namaste. Welcome to our podcast, Mental Health in the Ethnic Communities, brought to you by Apna Network NZ. Our mental health is just as important as our physical health. My name is Shirlene Prasad. I am the practice leader for Asha Services at Asian Family Services. And today we have with us Mrs. Khan. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
My pleasure.
Thank you. And would you like to say a little bit about yourself?
Yes, I'm from Levuka, born and bred in Levuka. I settled in Lambasa, and then from there I migrated to New Zealand.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I'm a senior citizen.
So what does well-being mean to you?
Well-being, for me, I would say like, how you feel, like what, okay, like you're happy, you get around, you do stuff, do things, and not just sit around and doing nothing. Get engaged, get busy doing things.
Mm-hmm.
And then it keeps you, healthy, you're happy.
Mm-hmm. So well-being is feeling good,
yes,
doing what you feel
feeling good,
is good for
how
you.
you feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very fortunate, I do feel that way.
Well, that's good to hear. So well-being has many components. There's mental well-being, there's the spiritual well-being, physical well-being, psychological well-being. So when we talk about mental well-being, what does that mean to you?
For me, I would say, sometimes like you can go to the depression, you are not happy for some things. That's how I look at it. But like, it's the attitude that you have. If you're a carefree person, you can overcome all that.
Mm-hmm. When you're a carefree person.
you don't worry about, yes, come, we'll see what happens,
Mm-hmm.
But then if it's behind, if you're anticipating it, then it's different. But if you just, just carry on as it comes, we'll take it as it comes.
Mm-hmm.
We'll cross the bridge when you come to it, eh?
Mm-hmm. So, amongst our South Asian community, there's of course a lot of prevalence of mental illness. What are some of the things that you do as an older person? What do you do to look after yourself so that you do experience that mental wellness?
Well, like got to be physical. I go to a local gym and they have swimming pools there.
Mm.
I do all that. There's a library beside it, and I have a few friends in the CAB, the Citizen Advice Bureau. So I go and jabber to them. They're all ethnicity.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. So you have a bit of fun and a bit of laugh.
Yeah. So you build connections.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and I like that because that keeps me going. That's at the gym. That keeps me going because I look forward to it because I meet a lot of people and I'm happy.
Mm-hmm. That makes you happy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So making those social connections. So social well-being is also quite important to our overall well-being. Now, coming back to if you're not feeling mentally well, and that means that it doesn't mean that you're not functioning. It sometimes means that you need to look after yourself so that you feel good. Mm. So sometimes when you experience those feelings, what do you do?
Fortunately, I think I've been very lucky because very seldom I do, if I experience that.
Mm.
Maybe because my nature,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I'm a person that I forget things and I just don't want to bother things that's not to come, it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So you just got to carry on, and just, we'll see when you come to it. We'll cross the bridge when we come to it.
Right.
That's a good way of, instead of sitting there and, oh, this is going to happen or that's going to happen.
So not worrying about things
No.
that are not in your control.
And then, and they may not.
Mm.
This is just how you feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
So if you can overcome that, well, you're fine, You can sleep well, you eat well,
Mm-hmm. Yep. So sleeping well and eating well is also part of, maintaining our physical health.
Oh.
What are some of the things that you do to maintain your physical health?
Well, as a matter of fact, I watch what I eat.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I have a good breakfast for the start of the day, but then light lunch and then the evening we eat pretty early. before it's bedtime, and then I'm done, you know. I mean, all the ends, you have coffee or you have, you know, when I'm down at the CAB down there, then, you know, that's when you all get together and you eating, you know, have a bit of laugh and sharing your food or whatever you have there.
Yep. So you watch what you eat. You try to eat healthy.
Yes.
And you try to have the required hours of sleep at night.
Yes. And I think most important is the physical fitness, you know, of you getting around, because otherwise you may not be able to get around. And that's one thing that scares me a bit, you know, like if your knees or your legs, you know, then you become handicapped, and that's what you don't want. If
So
you can avoid it, you know. Yeah.
So you keep yourself physically active.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do? You go to the gym, you said
Yeah,
before?
I go to the gym. I use all the machines that I could.
You use machines.
Yes,
you go to the gym.
I choose. I don't use all, but then we have a trainer there. Then he said, "Okay, you know, oh, Mrs. Khan, you use this one." So I use it. No, I normally use the machines that strengthens my legs. For me, that's important because, you know, my legs got to be strong to get around.
Okay. And what are some of the things that you would tell people of similar age to do? Because, you know, you're somebody who has social connections. You are aware of things that you need to do to maintain your well-being. But sometimes people are unaware of these things. You know, older people may be unaware, or they might not have the knowledge, or they might not know where to go to build connections. So what are your thoughts for encouraging this?
Well, the thing is, you know, like if that's very true, that they don't have the knowledge, they don't know where to go to, or some people prefer to just stay home and just do things in the house. But you got to get out. You got to get out to do things, you know, and meet people, you know, and you exchange, you know, your views, because that's very, very important. You know, like what's your opinion of that and what you think of that, and you learn from, you know, I mean, though, we seniors, but you're still in the learning process.
It's a lifelong process.
Especially for New Zealand, like, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're fortunate that we live in a country where we can, you know, we learn, we continuously learn, and we have the opportunity to continuously learn. So coming back to, you talked about conversations. It's important to have those conversations with people. But in our culture, in our South Asian culture, sometimes these kind of things that maybe people are hesitant to disclose, if they're not feeling well emotionally, maybe they're a bit hesitant to disclose that or talk about it. And research suggests that for Asians, the first people that they will disclose anything to would be friends and family. And maybe friends and family would not be able to provide them with the professional help that they need. What are your thoughts about this?
Well, if in that case, then they would refer you to, you know, they'll sort of give you, you know, where to go, where you can get that support, which a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
You know.
What are some of the barriers you feel could be stopping people from reaching out for support? Or
I think it's one is the language.
Language barrier.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, language, and I think. Like, you know, for us, you know, like when they say when you, I'm too old for that, you know, that's one thing that's always behind the mind, you know, that I'm too old for that, you know, I won't do that, but it's not that. It's just how you feel. The inside is important because the inside, your body is just a shell, okay? It's a shell, but it's the inside, the soul inside that keeps you going. If you feel young inside, you will always be that way, irrespective of your body going old, you know. You know, like, you know, well, when that's natural.
So coming back to the psychological well-being, you know, it's what you think. Yeah, your thoughts.
Yes, it's how you think. Say, oh, no, that's okay, you know, that's fine, you know. And then when you mix like that, you have a lot of encouragement from others too. You know, they never put you down. They're always think, oh, you can do that, you know.
So having supporting social circle.
Very important.
Okay. And what are some of the other barriers that you would, in your opinion, that you may come across with people that you know, or maybe come across just through other people?
I think is another thing is with the extended families, like some have grandchildren that they've got to look after, babysit them, and do things in the house,
Mm.
and that doesn't give them the freedom to get around. But like for me, I don't have anybody, it's just the two of us. And I mean, though I don't drive, but I get around where I want to go,
Mm. Mm.
you
Yeah.
know.
Mhm.
So that's another thing. And I think another thing is, like I said, a lot of people are just not, like we're all different, There's people who can socialize. There's some people who are
Mm.
quiet,
Mm.
who won't want to discuss or don't want to mix around. They're happy to be just quiet and sit around. But then that's the thing. If you can get around and mix with people, it's a big relief. You feel healthy. You feel your mental being is good. You feel good.
Mm. Yeah. But those are things that, it depends on the individual. Sometimes what gives them, what makes them feel good, what gives them that good feeling, positivity is different from other
Yes,
people.
exactly.
Like some people can be extroverts, some people can be introverts. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It depends, And like I do a lot of reading, so a lot of my time goes there. Like I like to gain knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
That keeps you busy too,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Learning.
And
Learning something
you're
new.
learning something new, and meeting people. Like I say, when I go down there, you meet a lot of people,
Building that social connection,
Yeah.
expanding your social circle.
And that's important.
That's very
Because
important.
if you don't get out, you just in the house, you just doing the daily chores, what's expected of you, and I think that if this expected, you just continue doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it's important to try something new? Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Mm.
I mean, I do a bit of embroidery when I pass time, and I like music. I do some embroidery, and if I'm reading, then I got my neighbors that I'll talk to them, or I'll do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I do a bit of charity. Somebody needs something, and I'll go help
volunteering.
them.
Yes, your time.
It's that saying they say what you can do for a country, not what a country can do for you.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
And I think that's true. This is what we should all learn. Don't expect a country, what you can give to the country.
And what you've just said, Mrs. Khan, is the 5 ways of well-being that is encouraged. Building connection, trying something new, learning, going for a walk.
Yes.
Expanding your social circle.
And having a pleasant, like you look at some people in that stage, I don't know whether I could talk to her or not, which she's not in a good mood, but you got to be having that cheerful look about
a positive
you.
Outlook.
Yeah. And then you welcoming people,
Sometimes some certain cultural barriers, and when I talk about cultural barriers, it's our culture, South Asian culture. It could be that people have this sense of shame or embarrassment that prevents them from expressing their true feelings, their honest feelings. So they have this, what we call stigma. They have that perceived stigma that, if I disclose that I'm not doing well, what other people might think about me. And this is one of the biggest barriers for people seeking support.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's true, very true. And like you won't have people who will volunteer this information, but you got to know a way of getting around it. I can tell a person if they're not happy. I can tell, then I'll, when there's anything I can do for you, or can I help you, And then sometimes you have some of them just open up. And then another thing with our culture, like you don't have the ladies going out much.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They don't go out. You see, they're home. They're doing domestic duties, grandchildren, cooking and all that thing. They don't take out enough time for themselves, which is very important.
Just, kind of looking at yourself and understanding what are your needs. Yeah, because it's about finding a balance. You have responsibilities and everyone has responsibilities, but it's also about finding the right balance where you are able to fulfill those responsibilities, but are also able to take care of yourself. What is it that, I guess it's sometimes people are so busy with these responsibilities that they don't really take a moment to really understand what is it that they need for their well-being.
Yes, unless when they really, really go down and then you
Yeah,
realize that, you know,
exactly.
but it's too late then.
Yeah, exactly. So these are the things why we are having these conversations, is because we are looking at prevention and early intervention. So we really want, you know, fence at the top of a cliff rather than ambulance at the bottom.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's why.
Another thing too is what we must bear in mind is we got to go to, like you have, you know, like we have the medical system here, which is very good.
Mm,
Like if you go, you have blood tests every 3 months, you know, and then you know, they'll see how you are. Health is important because if you don't have your health, is your wealth.
absolutely. In saying that, physical health is important, and I think a lot of us, when we're not feeling well, we don't hesitate to go see a GP. You know, if we're not feeling
Yes.
well physically, we don't hesitate to go see a GP. But when we're not feeling well emotionally, when something's bothering us, then there is still that hesitation to go and talk to a professional, or even talk to a close family member about what's going on. And often, some people might bottle that up, and that's when it's not okay for them to bottle these things up.
Yes.
Because physically they might look well, but if they're not looking after their emotional health, their mental health, then over time it can get worse. They might be really unwell emotionally.
Yeah, that's true. You got to be able to sort of get it out of your system. You know, you got to,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
That's very important. You know, don't bottle them up and just tell
No.
them. And you got to find something that you could trust.
Mm.
You know, like we said, like a lot of people, you know, I mean, if I told you something, you know, it
Yes.
goes on and on and on, which is not good about anybody. So just tell them, you know, it's all in confidence, and you know,
Mm.
this, you know, I'll just keep it as it is. So, and then you can help. There are lots of people that do need someone to talk to,
Mm-hmm.
but they
Yes.
don't know who. And especially in our culture, you know, like ladies don't go out. You know, they're home all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They don't take out the time for them, you know, which is very important. You
They-
see, we've done the hard yards, you know, we've done it. So, you know, it's our free time now. I've got children around, my daughters, you know, they call me, they ring me, or they come to visit me.
Mm.
So, you know, I mean, I look forward to that because, you know, the kids, and then you look at them, then you look at the kids, oh, you know, then you realize, oh no, the kids are grown, you know.
Yeah.
I'm no longer that person. I'm getting old too, you know. It's just a number.
Mm.
That's how you feel.
And you have that realization that the kids have grown up. Now it's time to focus
Yeah,
on you a bit
exactly.
more.
That's
Yeah.
true. You got to take out time for yourself. You got to be a bit
Absolutely.
selfish.
Absolutely. And with that comes the knowledge of how to look after ourselves, comes the knowledge of where to seek support. Like you said, some women, you know, some older women, they don't go out as much. And maybe they don't know where to seek support. So what would you say to that?
I think it's a cultural thing, like, especially for our people.
Mm.
You know, oh, I've got to see whether my daughter or my son, I'll have to tell them, you know, if I can do this and do that. You know, they got someone to answer to. And I think that thing, or maybe the kids don't want, the kids feel that it's not, I think that maybe the children, maybe they think, okay, you know, parents are not feeling well or something. And that's why it's good to stay on your own. When you stay on your own, you know, you just, you know, I got to do things for myself and how I feel, what I want to do, you know.
Mm. Okay.
And spirituality too is very important.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's very important.
Mm.
That's the foundation.
Is that something that's quite important for you?
Yes, very important.
And spirituality is that sense of purpose, whatever it may look like to somebody. It's that, you know, that individual concept of spirituality. Yeah.
And then kindness, like you got neighbors, you know, be good to your neighbors because, you know, it gives a lot of satisfaction when you're kind to people, you know. You do little things like that, makes you happy, make them happy.
Mm.
If you could put a smile on someone's face, you know, it's a big thing, you know. You hear some people that never smile or don't even talk.
Just being kind.
Yeah, kindness.
Mm.
Very important.
Okay. And thank you so much for your time. Just finally, I wanted to ask, do you have any tips for our audience on how can they look after their well-being?
Okay. Well, again, it depends individuals. Like if you're a person who's outgoing, who can go out and do stuff, and like we said, there are some people who are quieter. They're sort of, it's just not in them, which you don't blame them. Like as you know, our culture is such. People just you got to get the permission of that one, the husband, the son, or the daughter, whatever. But if you can do, that's what I suggest. Go out, enjoy yourself. Even if you go out shopping or even go out to we have a lot of natural things. The nature is beautiful here. If you can go out and spend time, admire,
Nature.
the trees. Yeah, it's beautiful, and that will take out, that stress if you do have it. It'll just, then you realize, there's a creator, who stand, look at the beautiful things. You go to One Tree Hill, or you go out at nights and look at the city, there's things like that that will sort of get you off your mind, like you feel, oh yeah, it's worth it, look at that, they're so beautiful. But then again, it depends on individuals, eh?
Yeah.
Because you see, we take a lot of things for granted. A lot of things are taken for granted. You don't realize until it happens, and then you say, oh yeah, I should have done that, or I should have done this.
So when you say a lot of things is taken for granted, what do you mean by that?
Okay, you take, for instance, like New Zealand is a beautiful place. New Zealand is a very beautiful place. So many things you could see, which is nature, natural. And we don't even appreciate that. You just walk past, even these big trees that you have, you look at the trees, they're so beautiful with the flowers, like we have the seasons.
Okay. Yeah. It's just going out in the nature, enjoying yourself.
And that's one tip I should say, if you go out for nature, because that will help you.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mrs. Khan, for joining us today, and thank you so much for your advice.
I hope it'll be of some help to some people.
Thank you for joining us for this podcast today, Mental Health in Ethnic Communities. If anyone out there is experiencing harm from gambling or need any mental health support, please call us on Asian Family Services 0800 862 342 and press 6 for Hindi. Thank you.